Hey, what's going on, fandom? It's your favorite Keyblade master here. It's your boy, and we are here today to look at, rank, analyze, / beat off to every Kingdom Hearts Keyblade in existence. And by every single Keyblade in existence, I mean all of the Keyblades. Dash from the first two main games, Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2. And I know someone's commenting already, but what about my favorite Keyblade from Kingdom Hearts X-7 over 8 days? And I hear you loud and clear. I think I will talk about your favorite Keyblade. I will do a whole separate video just for you. Just to be like, hey, here are all the Keyblades from these games. And here are all the Keyblades from Kingdom Hearts 3 when that comes out, which it probably has by the time you're watching this. So I'll do a smaller video ranking all the Keyblades from the handheld games, and then I'll do another one specifically for Kingdom Hearts 3. That sound good? Hell yeah. So I've gathered a list here from the Kingdom Hearts wiki, and if you ever need expert opinions and complete facts, you go to the wikis created by the fandoms that they're fans made. Okay, so I'm looking at this list and all my favorite ones are at the top, so we're gonna go from the bottom up. That sound good? Alright, let's do this! And for number one, what better way to start it off than the number one winged angel, the Keyblade that you obtain after defeating Sephiroth, which I have never done because I'm a little bitch boy who is never going to complete his goals. I have never obtained this Keyblade, so I have not seen it in action, and just a friendly reminder, we're not talking about how strong these Keyblades are. The fucking game tells you that. You don't need to watch a YouTube video to tell you something about a game that the game tells you. That's just insanity. We are again here to mostly talk about the designs of these Keyblades. I'm going to obviously talk about my personal experience with them, and just kind of give a out of 5 scale for each one. For instance, this one winged angel, I kind of feel like if you defeat Sephiroth, you should get like the most badass key to existence, the man with the coolest sword. You should get a fucking cool sword for defeating him. This one in particular, the end piece, I'm not a big fan of, and I don't know, it just doesn't look as razzle-dazzle as I think it should. That being said, it does look practical, if a Keyblade can be practical in any sense. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5. It's a good Keyblade. It's not gonna be the one that you buy the replica of or anything though. This is what you get for defeating the Ice Titan post-game or at the end of the game. It's another one where I just kinda hate looking at it. Like, it's not terrible, but like, again, I just defeated a fucking Titan. I'm fucking badass as shit. I'm the coolest 14-year-old baggy shorts wearing kid there is. I should be holding a cool ass Keyblade after taking down something like that. This just kind of looks like a cool Keyblade design was there, and then they like morphed it in Photoshop to make it look dumb. I'm gonna give this one a 2 out of 5. Next up, we got Lionheart. At this point in the game, there's so many Keyblades that you're just being given to, like, at the end of these games, you're just Keyblade, Keyblade, Keyblade. And Lionheart's one of those Keyblades where you stop and be like, oh, you shuffle through it and be like, ooh, I'm going to use this one for a little bit. It's not always the best stat-wise, but it looks cool, goddammit. This is what you get for defeating Cloud. I get the Final Fantasy concept here. I'm, you know, not attached to Cloud as a character, as a Final Fantasy character. So I obviously don't have that feeling that I'm sure someone else has looking at this. To me, it kind of just looks like another Keyblade. Like, this looks like it would be like in the 3 rows back in the Keyblade graveyard or something like that. So I'm gonna give this one another 3 out of 5. Next up is the Metal Chocobo, which this is for when you defeat Cloud earlier in the game during the Hercules Cup. Or yeah, that was the one. This one I actually really like. I love just how they are able to incorporate a Chocobo at the end of it. I like, you know, it kind of has that buster, that Cloud Buster feel to it. It looks like it weighs 1,000 pounds, and it looks like it just hurts your enemies as you whip the shit out of them with it. I I kind of want to say this is one of the more underrated Keyblades out there. Like, I don't see anyone ever holding this one, but like, if you're trying to like show off the Final Fantasy aspect of Kingdom Hearts, like, this is a good Keyblade for that. Next up, we got the Spellbinder Keyblade. This is just a random Keyblade that Merlin gives to you. It's very majestic. It's very mystic. I do want to say, like, this is one of the more underrated ones, but at the same time, I know I'm probably never going to use these Keyblades, like, if I have just one better choice. So, I want to say, just for sheer design, and I like the color scheme going on, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. Not like the best Keyblade ever, though. Divine Rose. This Keyblade is given to you by Belle after the whole fiasco there at Hollow Bastion. And obviously this is supposed to be like the beauty, like we don't have a Beauty and the Beast world, but we got a Beauty and the Beast Keyblade. Even though the Rose design doesn't even make sense for how this game is structured around the story. Because the Rose idea is not introduced, but that's besides the point. I don't really like this Keyblade. I like that the idea that the hilt is like a rose. I just am not a fan of the handle. I'm not a fan of the chain. The purple and like kind of green thorn aesthetic, I am not crazy on. I don't like the Keyblades that look like they're like really small. Like whenever they have like these long chains and like it looks like it's meant to be like blocking instead of attacking. I'm just not a fan of this one. I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 5. I almost like the Crabclaw Keyblade, but like it's cheesy and dumb at the same time. Like, I remember having this Keyblade out in like worlds like the Halloween Town world and the Hollow Bastion, and just be like, my fucking Keyblade looks like shit here. It doesn't match the aesthetic. I look like a fucking dumbass holding a crab on a stick that I'm trying to use as a weapon. I'm gonna give Crabclaw a 2 out of 5. Wishing Star, the Pinocchio level. I've seen Pinocchio since my last playthrough of Kingdom Hearts. I actually watched Pinocchio, and like now I get the handcrafted aesthetic here, but it looks bad. I get it's supposed to look mechanical and it looks like a handmade Keyblade, but handmade Keyblades usually look like trash, bro. So I'm gonna give this one a 2 out of 5. Pumpkinhead is such a dope Keyblade. I don't give a shit how edgy and how Dark Lord it looks. It's a dope looking Keyblade, and towards the end of the game you're in those darker aesthetics, so it fits right along in. I like kind of just a Nightmare Before Christmas's whole aesthetic. Seeing Sora in his costume with this Keyblade makes it look even cooler. I'm gonna give Pumpkinhead a 4 out of 5. Three Wishes is alright. I do want to say it has one of the best chains. The lamp is probably the most obvious chain we could have had at the end of it. I don't think this is anyone's favorite Keyblade, but it's nobody's least favorite either. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5. Jungle King, probably one of the least likely to return Keyblades. I feel like I'm overexposed to these Keyblades that are like earlier in the game, because obviously I know the earlier sections better because I played those more as a kid. And on top of that, I'm obviously not obtaining as many Keyblades as I am later in the game, so I don't know. I want to give it a 3 out of 5, but like a very low 3 out of 5. Olympia! I love this Keyblade. I love how it looks like it belongs in the Hercules movie. It looks like something that the main hero of a video game would carry. It looks like one of the best weapons. It looks like it's mystique. It looks powerful, and it looks like you went through a fucking challenge to get that. I know you just get it for beating all the cups or whatever, but it is a badass Keyblade nonetheless. I love the chain. I love the kind of Olympus feel to it. It's a really cool Keyblade. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Lady Luck, which is a Keyblade you actually get via a Trinity in the Alice in Wonderland world. I don't really think I ever used this one. I like the Queen of Hearts feel. I think Alice in Wonderland is one of my 2 or 3 favorite movies that they're adapting in this game, despite it's probably my least favorite world in the game. That being said though, I kind of feel like they could have made it weirder. I feel like we could have got something more with the Mad Hatter aesthetic, something more regarding Alice. Just basing it off the Queen kind of just feels like a dumb heart scheme. I'm going to give this one a 2 out of 5. Next up is the Keyblade of Heart, which you can actually not use in the game. It is possessed by Riku when he was controlled by Ansem. It's a very dagger-ish looking, like it looks like the fucking shit you would poke around with the fire. I would love to actually have one of those that looks like this Keyblade. I think it's a very evil, it's a very dark Keyblade. It looks a little bit too edgy. I kind of feel like something more Keyblade looking could have been made here. A dark version of the Keyblade that Sora uses. But for what it is, it's alright. It's just meant to make Riku look extra evil. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. Next up is the Kingdom Key D, which I don't need a picture for because I have it right here. It's probably not completely in frame, but whatevs. This Keyblade I obviously enjoy very much since I got a physical version of it. It's probably, I want to say, it's my go-to favorite Keyblade because it's just the original Keyblade, but Mickey Mouse at the end of Kingdom Hearts was the most mystique, cool character, and before they made him, you know, relative to the whole series, he was kind of just like this godlike figure that you assumed was infinitely powerful, and that was represented in this gold Keyblade. I think just simple color changes is enough to establish familiarity, but mystique at the same time. So just having a gold Keyblade represented by what we assume is the strongest Keyblade master in the series, although that kind of feels like it's not true anymore. I thought it was a great idea, and I love the Kingdom Key D. I think its backstory was a little bit forced, but it's a cool backstory nonetheless. That was represented in 2.8. Anyway, I'm going to give it an obvious 5 out of 5. Next up, we have the Ultima Weapon, the most powerful Keyblade in all of Kingdom Hearts, I guess apart from the Keyblade, whatever the fuck that is in Birth by Sleep. But the Ultimate Weapon is, I'm sorry, I just called it the Ultimate Weapon. I'm sorry, the Ultima is Ultima, not Leviosa. The Ultimate Weapon, I think, looks the right amount of over the top, the right amount of absurdity, the right amount of mystique, beauty, and all the things that I never obtained because I never actually used this weapon in game because I, again, am terrible at everything. I love the absurdity of how hard it is to obtain this weapon in any of the games. It's just like, oh yeah, that one weapon at the end of every game that's like super hard and you'll never obtain because you don't want to spend 100 hours on a game that's supposed to be 30 hours long. Yeah, that one. Yeah, the fucking Ultima Weapon. Look at this thing. I have to give it a 5 out of 5. I'm sorry. It's the motherfucking Ultima Weapon. If it wasn't a 5 out of 5, it'd be doing something wrong with itself. Next up, Oblivion, which I do have a replica of this one, or a handmade replica, whatever you want to call it. This one is fucking beautiful. When I said everything I said about the other Keyblades being too edgy, I want to say that this is the edgiest one of all, and it is the best one of all. When you think of Kingdom Hearts Keyblades, this is one of the first ones you think of, despite the fact that you get it very late in the game. All of that being said, this is one of my favorite Keyblades as well. Obvious 5 out of 5. Finally, the final Keyblade that is in Kingdom Hearts 1, the most obvious one, the most iconic of them all, the Kingdom Key, which again, I love the name of this Keyblade. I love the Mickey Mouse chain at the end of it. I like that it's able to incorporate a Disney aspect to it. I love the fact that this one actually looks like, oh, it's a Keyblade, it looks like a key, I get it. I love the hilt, I love the color scheme with the silver and gold, but that little bit of color on right there on the hilt. For a mascot Keyblade, this is as good as it could have got. I love the concept. I love using it early on in the games. It just brings back those memories, brings back the nostalgia, and I'm going to give this one another very obvious 5 out of 5. Alright, starting off Kingdom Hearts 2. Before we begin, I do want to say that I'm not going to repeat the same Keyblades. I know that some of the designs look a little bit different, changing from game to game, But really, none of the designs change my opinion all that much. Things like, oh, the Ultima Weapon looks kinda even more cool. Yeah, that's all I have to say about it. So, there you go. Okay, next up, we have the exclusive Keyblade to Riku, Way to Dawn, which I love the title. I love any incorporation of the end of Riku's Chain of Memory storyline, because I feel like as a character, that's kind of where his high point was, and ever since then, he's just kind of been bouncing around. Way to Dawn, it's a cool Keyblade. Like, I know that that Riku is like the most edgiest character, I think, in the entire franchise, right next to Roxas. But Riku he needs a weapon like this. He needs something that's just gonna match his stupid ass one hand in his pocket aesthetic. And this is perfect for that. I'm gonna give Way to Dawn a 4 out of 5. Next off, we have Destiny's Embrace, which is Kairi's Keyblade, which I don't think people act like, oh, Kairi isn't just a useless character. She's actually using a Keyblade at the end of Kingdom Hearts 2. I get that. I don't think giving someone a Keyblade for unknown reasons is enough to make them a cool character. I know that they incorporate it with Birth by Sleep, yada yada yada. This Keyblade, it's alright. Like, it obviously needs to be held by a Aqua or a Kairi. Like, I think this would look stupid with most other characters and most other environments in the game. But, as it is, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. I like the end piece chain. It's pretty kawaii. Ends of the Earth. This is the Keyblade held by Lingering Will. So, fuck this Keyblade just for existing as the fucking Keyblade that motherfucker is using. Never defeated this guy either. It's a pretty damn cool Keyblade, I'm going to admit. Terra is a fucking douchebag, 4 out of 5. Starseeker, this one has been pretty much synonymous with Mickey. It's also the Keyblade that you obtain at Master Yi and Sid's house, so it's like, okay, this is Mickey Mouse's Keyblade before he had the Kingdom Key D. Cool concept. It has a very Fantasia vibe to it. It's alright. I kind of think it's a little bit too cheesy, but I think that it's grown on me over time. Like, when I think of classic Keyblades, this isn't like the first one that comes to mind, but it's on that like lower tier of, then there's the Starseeker, yada yada yada. It's a good enough Keyblade, 3 out of 5. Hidden Dragon. This one is in the Mulan universe, and this Keyblade is very interesting. I don't really like the end piece of it. Like, we could have got a Keyblade that actually looks like the Emperor's Sword. We could have got something that involves Mushu a little bit better. Just something that feels more Chinese. I know that obviously Hidden Dragon is a Chinese reference, but I don't know. I definitely don't get that much of a dragon vibe just looking at this thing. I'm going to give this one a 2 out of 5. Rumbling Rose. This one is different than the one in Kingdom Hearts 1. This one, you know, is just as bad as the last one. It's supposed to be this kind of, the bottom is a cool rose thing, and the top is like something that reminds you of the Beast. It's like, let's just take two ideas and mash them together, and yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, not a fan of this one, 2 out of 5. Hero's Crest. Not a big fan of this one. I feel the Olympia Keyblade was so much better, but obviously this is just one that you get early on in the game. It's alright, could have been better. I'm gonna give this, what, did I just speak in tongues? I'm gonna give this one a 2 out of 5. Monochrome, I wonder where they got the idea for that title. This is the Keyblade that you get for completing Timeless River. It's a fun little Keyblade. It's I like the black and white aesthetic. You know, black and white are kind of like my favorite colors, so seeing them mesh together in this old style Keyblade, it grows on me. I kind of feel like adding the little arrows on the side of it makes it look kind of dumb. I feel like all the Keyblades kind of suffer from that. It's like, oh yeah, we gotta actually make this thing look like a weapon. So a lot of them just have like these jagged side pieces. It's alright. I'm gonna give this one a 3 out of 5, but definitely more potential here. Mysterious Abyss. This is when you complete the Little Mermaid. This one, I like it better than the Crabclaw, but at the same time, I don't like this end piece either. It's just a little wave ball thingy. I like the color scheme to this one. It's just not what I want out of a Keyblade today. I'm gonna give this one a low ball 3 out of 5. Follow the Wind. I am a big Pirates of the Caribbean guy, so I kind of hope when we see the ones in Kingdom Hearts 3, they're a little bit better than this. It's an alright Keyblade. I get the idea here. I like the chain, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like the design of it. It looks more like a weapon. I think the Keyblades that like turn into side pieces are usually better. Like this one is. They look sleeker. But this one, I don't know. It kind of looks like just another Keyblade. It looks like they're just like, oh yeah, the Pirates of the Caribbean one, boom, done, on to the next one. Gonna give this one a 3 out of 5. Wishing Lamp, the newest Aladdin Keyblade. This one fixes most of my complaints with the one from earlier. This one, you know, it's got the lamp actually in the Keyblade and on the chain. The end piece kind of fixes what I was talking about earlier. It actually looks like something luscious, something that would be in Aladdin. It looks like it was dripped in gold. It's a good Keyblade. I'm going to give this one a 3 out of 5. Decisive Pumpkin. This Keyblade is a clusterfuck. This is supposed to mix Christmas and Halloween Town, and it doesn't really do that like in the movie where it just kind of looks natural somehow. This looks like a clusterfuck, but at the same time, I kind of love it. It's a great Keyblade for how quirky and weird it is. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. Next up, we have the Circle of... I'm going to give this one a 3 out of 5. It's pretty good. I enjoy the Far Cry Primal aesthetic here. This looks like another jungle African warrior Keyblade. I enjoy it. Sweet Memories. Such a beautiful title for completing such a little sweet section in Kingdom Hearts 2. 100 Acre Wood is a perfect way to relax. And this looks like a little relaxing Keyblade. Look at this thing. I like how it's a fucking tree with a branch. I think that is actually like they took the time to think of this one. It's like, oh, what do we use for the blade? Oh, a tree branch. And it's like, oh yeah, what do we do next? It's gonna have this little bee thing for the chain. Great idea. I just get the fuzzies thinking about Winnie the Pooh, so seeing this Keyblade really makes me smile. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. Photon Debugger. I'm not really a huge fan of the Tron aesthetic. I think it's kind of just like a sci-fi aesthetic before we really could grasp cool sci-fi aesthetics. This Keyblade, though, it works. That's really all I can say about it. Is it's functional. I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's a 3 out of 5. Another low ball. 3 out of 5. Gull Wing. This is when my girl Yuna shows up in pixie form to deliver me a Keyblade, just as she did in my dreams. This Keyblade, it's alright. I don't love it. I kind of think it's a throwaway Keyblade. You're probably never going to use it, especially at the point in time when they give it to you for how weak it is. Not a great Keyblade, but it's alright. I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5. Next up, we got Guardian Soul. This Keyblade is in honor of Auron, the greatest character in any of these games. I'm going to give this one a 3 out of 5. It looks like a mean Keyblade that you would give to a mean son of a bitch like Auron. I fucks with it. Sleeping Lion. I don't think this is in the first game. This is the Leon Keyblade. Basically, you start getting Keyblades like featuring certain characters later on. This one's pretty good. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. Not great, though. I've seen better Keyblades. Fenrir. This is the Cloud Keyblade. This one is dope. Look at this thing. This looks like it's going to chain your back up and destroy you on impact. This looks like it was made to just tear through Heartless. This looks like a Keyblade made for when Sora is made to look the most badass as possible. Whenever Sora's mean mugging and there's like CGI art fests going on behind him, this is the Keyblade that he should be using. This one is dope. I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. Next up, we got the Bond of Flame. This is the Axel Keyblade. I also love this one. Like, after the big emotional payoff with Axel, this Keyblade gets thrown at you and you're just kind of like, that's pretty fucking sick. I love that this one looks like, the Keyblades look like they should be meant to be flown around and deal damage at the same time. This obviously is mimicking Axel's circular blade things. It's a cool one. I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. 2 become 1. I believe this is only in Final Mix, but this is the Keyblade you get for defeating Roxas. It's basically supposed to look like a nobody Keyblade. I love this one. I think this is one of the coolest looking Keyblades. Again, anything with the black, white, silver aesthetic I'm going to like, but at the same time, I like the kind of, like Keyblades, whenever they start warping to the side like that, they kind of start looking weird for me. But this one does it right. This one, the hilt looks like a lot of like the nobody enemies with the really long tails and the jagged edges on the side. I love that. I love that it incorporates what you're fighting into it. And it matches Sora aesthetic at the end of the day. A lot of these Keyblades have vastly different color schemes, but ones that like match Sora's black jacket and whatever else the fuck he's wearing, I adore. I'm gonna give this Keyblade a 5 out of 5. Holy shit, I don't even think I've seen this one before. Winner's Proof. You get this for completing all of the Mushroom 13 mini games. What the fuck are... I obviously don't know Kingdom Hearts as well as I thought I do. This is a beauty. Look at this thing. Everything I just said about 2 become 1, I can say for this. Like, in terms of I love the color scheme and I love the aesthetic. I love how like majestic it is. Like look at the arches on this thing, like leading up to the hilt, and it's still symmetrical somehow. I love this. I'm gonna give this one a 5 out of 5, based off this one picture I'm seeing. Next up, we have the Fatal Crest, another Keyblade I'm not super familiar with. I like it. I have seen this one before though. I'm gonna give this one a 3 out of 5. It's kind of cheesy, but like that good amount of cheesy. It looks pretty badass, I'm not gonna lie. I enjoy it, but I don't think this is one of my favorite Keyblades. And holy motherfucking shit, if you guys thought I could have scored all of these Keyblades and all the ones from the handheld games, you are goddamn wrong, because that took way too long. But we went through a lot of Keyblades. I feel like I've kind of finally got my grasp on my opinions with certain Keyblades and which ones are my favorite. Based on my scores and reaction, you can probably just make a top 10 list for yourself. I think Kingdom Key D, 2 Become 1, Oblivion, and Oathkeeper are probably my favorite Keyblades. But we still got the entire Birth by Sleep trio and all of their Keyblades and the Keyblade and all the Keyblades in the graveyard. We got a lot of Keyblades to go through and talk. Oh, and then we have an entire new game coming out. It's gonna be fun, guys. I can't wait to see you in those videos, but until then, thank you for watching. Make sure to fucking click around. Look at all these cool videos. Oh my god, I didn't even make some of those. Oh, Jesus Christ, this is a crazy platform. You could just watch this shit all day and let your life tremble as you keep on clicking and clicking and giving away those advertiser dollars with your soul. This took a weird turn. I don't think there's a better way to close out this video than locking it shut. I'm trying to think of a cool sound effect. That was pretty good.